Hi everyone, and welcome back to another update video on Project for the Web. Today we are going to cover the June 2021 updates. Very excited because there's a lot to share, so before I dive in, click that like button if you like this content and consider subscribing or even subscribe to the newsletter because there's free content there. So before we start diving into the actual content of the new features, be aware that UserVoice has been retired as of June 2021. That means that to get in touch with the product team, you either use their hashtag or their Twitter handle, or you go into the app itself and they actually explain it here. Go either in the app itself and click on the question mark there or have a suggestion, or click on the comment section below. So to share what that option is within the app itself, let's head on over to the June 2021 update. So what you do is you head on over on the top right and you click I have a suggestion. I like something, I don't like something, and I have a suggestion. So these three options are still here, and if I click on I have a suggestion, that suggestion is now in here instead of navigating you away to the UserVoice page. So let's have a look at the June updates themselves. We have choice option fields. Finally, we're going to create a solution. We're going to create one, and I'm going to share one as well that I have already created. You might have also already seen it though. There is filters on progress, which is nice. And for those of you that are familiar with Planner, yes, we're actually using the same icons here. So we also have filter options on board and timeline so that you can quickly find your tasks and filter on them. I'll share that in the demo in just a moment. Then importing the project desktop files is now available for everyone, but we already covered that in 2 separate videos previously, so I'm not going to touch on that in this video. Then there is a Power BI template app, and we're going to have a brief look at that, and I'm going to share a better solution with you. At least I personally think that it is a better solution. And then finally there is this wee little short update, which is copy links to task improvement. Now if you copy a task link, it shows the name of the task instead of that ugly URL that you would normally get. So let's get back on top. New features, choice custom fields. So what I have here is my June 2021 update. This is a project created in Project for the Web. You know and love the URL already, project.microsoft.com. Make sure you have the correct licenses. So I already have a custom field or a custom column, and I can hide this, I can edit it. And what this custom column does, it shows you status, and I can change that basically to turn green if I think everything is looking well for this project or this task. I can change that even for milestones if I'd like to do that. Now only these buttons doesn't make much sense, so I can click on the edit and I can enter some more data, not applicable for instance, and I can say help feeling well, all is good. And if you're wondering how I put those icons in here, remember that last video that I did where Windows period key, there's a number of variations that you can have with your keyboard settings. For me, it is Windows key and period sign to get these emojis in the any app. That might also be Windows key and apostrophe or semicolon also works. So figure that out for your own keyboard settings. Suffice to say, they are supported within the custom fields, which I really like. You can add choices, but let's create one from scratch. So in here, I'm going to add a new custom field that has choices for the different departments that I need to address in the different parts of my schedule. So I'll create a new field and I will create a choice and I'll call this department. And I'll have HR in here, I will have R&D, and I will have IT. Now remember, I can add different choices, I can even move them up or down, and I can click on delete. Suffice to say, these are the departments that I want to use, and I can add myself to the IT. There's no drop down box or no filler option like we know and love from Excel. That will be a suggestion to improve, I would say, for the product team. So let's say that task number 3 needs to be HR, and let's say that the milestone is also HR. The Miriam works for research and development, and these milestones are not important. Now let's see what happens if we actually want to filter on these, because that is one of the improvements that was also mentioned in the June update. Remember that filter on boards and timelines and filter on progress. Let's see them both in action. So for one, I have a couple of tasks that are fully completed. I have one that is in 25% and I have one that is at roughly 10%. Now when I go to filter options, I will see that progress bar here, and I can filter on not started tasks, and I do see the summary tasks. I don't really care that they are here because, well, yeah, that's useful information, right? I can also filter on in progress, and be aware that it is a multi-select option that you will have. So in progress, everything that's being done currently, and I have my completed option here as well. So this is a neat little way to actually filter on progress right away. Now let's put this to the test. I created the department, and now I want to test and see if I filter down on HR, for instance, do I see just the task 3 and milestone 1? So let's see. And yes, I do. Very well. I haven't tested this out, and I was just thinking about this, and I'm happy to see that it actually does take into account the custom fields that you create for your single project. Now, these custom fields with the columns, with the choices, will they also show up in an Excel? Well, let's put that to the test as well. And here we see all the way to the right. Let's see, where is my So no, they do not show up in a Excel export. Something to be aware of. I would assume that that comes in the next iteration. So moving on, we also have filter options on our board view. So let's have HR in here. Yes, that still works even though it's not on screen. That's very nice. We can look at everything that's in progress. We can look at everything that's completed. And that looks very much like Planner, so that's good. I have my timeline, and in my timeline I can also filter down on HR, and I can filter down on everything that's in progress. Very nice. Works across all the 3 views that we have available. So let's have another look at the update. So we've seen the choices, we've seen the filter options. For the choice, there's also a dedicated blog article which you can access. Let's talk a bit about the Power BI template app. And let's talk a bit about why I think that there is a better solution. So right from the start, if I navigate to my project home, I have all my projects in here. I also have project for the web projects in there. I have other projects. I might have other projects in the future. But for now, if I navigate to Power BI, oh, I still had it open. Let me start off. If I navigate to Power BI and I go to apps, I will have my more options from Microsoft App Store source, and I can search for project, and here it is the second option on the list. So if I click on this one, I'll be presented with general information, general data, such as what is included. Looks kind of familiar, right? We know already what will roughly be in there. But the second I click on Get It Now, I need to start filling in personal data, which I don't quite feel comfortable with, even because I need to give Microsoft permissions to use or share my account information. Well, yes, you might agree that Microsoft isn't a trustworthy source and you can be okay with it, but for me, I don't feel very confident in just sharing my phone number and email address to just about everyone. So I'm not going to do this, and instead I am going to navigate to GitHub. And in GitHub you also have the Project Power BI templates, and you have three options. So you have your Project Online option, you have your Project for the Web option, and you have consolidated reports. And the Project for the Web option is actually the report that was mentioned in the blog article. And now I can publish this, I can alter the data, I can start doing my DAX queries in here. It just makes more sense to have more control over the report than having to give my personal data to Microsoft, as well as not having the option to change and alter that app itself. So this is another option for you to look into. I'll put a link to this page in the show notes. So heading back to the June project updates, there is this little remaining item here. So what I've done is I have an empty page on Word open, and I can now look into project, and I can go back to the June update, and if there is one of these tasks that I want to share with anyone else that might have access to view this project, of course, I can share this with Miriam, and I can copy the link to this task, and I can navigate back to my Word document, and I can click and keep the source formatting, and now it shows you as task 4. Now, what would show up if we have a summary? Very curious to see that. I haven't tested that. So let's see what happens when we share a summary task. Oh, well, it doesn't really know that it's a summary task. What about milestones? Let's see. And of course, we already know what the solution will be, but I just want to have it on screen. Yeah, so it doesn't know the differences between a task, a summary task, and a milestone. For the solution, it's still all just a task. Would make sense when we look at the construction of a Project Accelerator, but again, there it is. So that's it for the updates for the June 2021 update. there are two things that are upcoming. We have the assign tasks to non-group members, which is very cool. Now you don't have to have a person on your team that you can share your project with. And you have a roll-up of custom fields, which is also very useful if you have numerical values in there. So that's it for now. I hope you liked this video. If you did, consider subscribing, consider clicking on that like button, and I'll be back with another monthly update in a month. And in between, I'll be able to share other content that might be relevant for you.